Good morning, everybody. It is a pretty early one today. It's 5:30 in the morning, and my camera does not want to stay where it's at. But today is going to be shoulders and abs. That's what we're going to be hitting today. I'm Jason. I post long-form bodybuilding content every day. If you want to follow my workouts, follow my journey, I'm going through a cut right now, hit that subscribe button. But I like to answer some questions before I head into the gym. Most of the time I'll record my workouts and then answer some questions afterwards. So if you got any questions about bodybuilding in general, feel free to leave a comment below. Did you get at least 7 hours of sleep last night? Absolutely. I think I got about 10. I was pretty tired, fell asleep early, stayed asleep. So every once in a while, if you were watching my last video, you would have heard that I was getting pretty tired. I was pretty exhausted from just work and hitting the gym so hard. But I had a really good leg day yesterday. How's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, the pre-workout is hitting right now, so we're closing in on a 10, so that's good. Have you eaten your pre-workout meal, and what was in it? I had 2 rice cakes with some low sugar jelly, and I had my creatine gummies, my multivitamin, my pre-workout, and some fish oil. That's all I had. And usually that's good enough for a morning workout. Are you properly hydrated right now? Yes, my pre-workout was mixed with 24 ounces of water, and I think that's sufficient. Any tightness or soreness lingering from recent sessions? Yeah, my chest and my shoulders and my legs have not started hurting yet, but I'm sure they will after that leg day I did. But that's okay. What's your goal for today's shoulder and ab workout? I don't think it'll be a super heavy one. I do want to try some shoulder pressing. I haven't been able to do that, and I haven't really hit my front delts hard in a while, so I want to hit them. I think that's how I'm going to mix it up today. Do you have any specific PR or movement you're aiming to improve today? Not really, not with shoulders and abs. It's lateral raises, face pulls, yada, yada, yada. Are you training for hypertrophy, strength, or endurance? More focused on hypertrophy because we're trying to grow. We're bodybuilding. When you have a heavy compound movement like squats and bench press, that's when you're really training for strength. Which shoulder exercise are you planning to focus on? Overhead press or lateral raise? Lateral raise. Like, I'm going to try to do some overhead press. The rest is up to my shoulder. I'm not sure if it's going to cooperate, but we will find out. How many ab exercises do you have planned? Cable crunches, Mason cross crunches. I might do some oblique work. I'm really not sure just yet. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Let's see what else we got going on here. Are you planning on any supersets or circuits today? No, but I haven't really done a lot of those lately. So that might be something that I start to work back in, is that type of training. Will you train to failure or keep a few reps in reserve? Man, that just depends on the set. It's kind of hard to train lateral raises to failure because you can always move your arms a little bit, right? So, I don't know. How's your posture feeling? Any forward shoulder rounding or core imbalance? I mean, that's a pretty good question. I feel like I do. I don't feel like my posture is great, but I'm almost 40 years old and I haven't really focused on trying to keep my posture good. So, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for that one. I'd say imbalance if I don't have an answer, right? What's your current shoulder mobility like? Any in pig, whatever that word is, or stiffness? The rotator cuff warm-up has been helping a lot. So I think my range of motion with my shoulders and everything, I think it's starting to get quite a bit better now. So I think that's something I've worked on pretty hard, and I think I've made some strides there, you could say. Will you be using machines, free weights, cables, or a mix? Usually a mix. I like to start my side delts with the cable lateral raise because it keeps your shoulder under tension the entire time. And I feel like it pre-exhausts me before I go to lateral raise, because with lateral raise, I don't want to go too heavy, but I want the weight to do the damage, So I think it's a good idea to start with cables and then move on to free weights. We don't really have any shoulder machines in here, which is something this gym is lacking. I wish it had a lot more machines than it does, but it just doesn't. So, what tempo or time under tension are you aiming for on your lifts? Slow and controlled with shoulders. Almost always slow and controlled, I think. I've tried the whole swinging thing and just throwing weight around, but with shoulders, it just feels like the time under tension helps with that mind-muscle connection so much. And I feel like I make more gains when I just slow it down with shoulders. Not every muscle is like that. Do you have your workout playlist ready? Yes. Let's see. Let me just pull it up real quick. Let's see, Spotify. I always try to remember what I have on my playlist, but I can't ever remember to tell you guys. There it is. As soon as I opened it, it started playing. Hopefully, they don't get me a copyright. I got some I Prevail on here, some Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Falling in Reverse, The Plot in You, Eminem, Shinedown, Panic at the Disco, some Scald, some Nothing More. Got Dream On by Aerosmith, some Shinedown, some NF. So A Day to Remember, just a mix, you know. That's the kind of stuff I'm listening to right now. Every once in a while, I'll just start a new workout playlist. I probably got like 20 of them now. I probably need to go back and, well, no, I can just go back and listen to them, just mix it up every once in a while. How will you track your sets and reps today? I don't really track them. I just work out based on my energy levels, and it varies every day. My effort, like I try to say this every time, and I always say it wrong. Your effort is not if you did more weight than you did last week. Your effort is reflected by your energy levels. Let's do it like this. Say one day you're at 100% and you're lifting, we'll just use 100 pounds. You do 100 pounds for 12 reps. Awesome. And then the next time you're only at 80%, but you do 80 pounds for 12 reps. That's the same effort. It's a pretty good way to explain it. Is your mind focused, or are there distractions you need to clear before starting? No, I'm pretty focused. I just love going to the gym. I love working out. Definitely a passion of mine. And I love sharing it with you guys. It's pretty cool to be able to do this. What would make you walk away from this session feeling proud? I feel proud just showing up to the gym. I don't judge it based on how much weight I move. Maybe a little bit of judgment on the effort, because the effort changes with energy levels. As long as I'm putting in good effort, I go in there. I get a decent shoulder pump. I do my cardio when my energy levels allow it. I'll feel proud. I'm proud right now just talking about going into the gym. I'm not even in there yet. So, but that's it for the question portion. We're going to get in there. I'm going to thrash these shoulders and mix in a little bit of abs, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, there you have it. Shoulders and abs is complete. So I had to plug my mic up. It feels a little awkward with it plugged up and on me, but you know, it is what it is. But it was a solid workout. I mean, if you watched the video, you saw all the sets I did, all the exercises I did, and it's probably one of my longer workouts I've had in a little while. But let's go ahead and jump right into these questions. All righty. What was the highlight of today's shoulder and abs workout? I would say the highlight was the shoulder press machine, because I wanted to go in today and I wanted to test my shoulder to see how much it's healed over the past few months, to see if I was ready for any kind of heavy pressing, you know. And it felt pretty good. I didn't go super heavy, but I didn't feel any kind of pain when I was doing the shoulder press. So that we'll mark that as a win. So that felt pretty good. Did you hit any PRs or push past any sticking points? Shoulder press again. Not being able to do any kind of shoulder press for almost a year. It kind of made the shoulder workouts feel incomplete, even though most people's front delts are overdeveloped. But, you know, that felt really good. How did your energy levels hold up from warm up to final set? After my warm up and after a couple of the sets, the first two sets, the lateral raise and stuff, after that, my energy levels were fine. I actually ended up doing my cardio too, which I really wasn't planning on doing, but I was feeling pretty good. So why not, right? Which exercise felt strongest today, and why do you think that was? Which one felt strongest? They all felt pretty average. And I can't say shoulder press again. I've already used that too many times, but I say throughout the whole workout, everything felt pretty good. Felt like everything was in working order, and you know, that's always a plus, right? Let's see what's next. Question number 5. Which movement felt the weakest or most unstable? It always seems like the first couple sets of cable lateral raises feel the weakest, so maybe I just need to warm that up a little bit more or something. But I mean, it's pretty much always, almost no matter what muscle group you're working out, your first couple sets are probably going to feel the weakest, right? So, you know, that's just a given. How was your shoulder joint mobility throughout the workout? Felt really good after not being able to shoulder press, guys. I'm telling you, I'm just going to keep going back to that shoulder press, but that felt really good to be able to do a little bit of shoulder pressing. And if you've never had a shoulder injury or anything like that, then you know it's really kind of hard to explain. But being able to come back from that, it feels pretty good. But I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to say I'm going to shoulder press every single shoulder day and try to push for PRs and stuff. So that's definitely not the case there. Did you modify any exercise or switch things up mid-session? Yes, I did, which is definitely something that everyone should be comfortable doing. I think it's going to benefit you a lot. I haven't trained my calves in a while, and when I started training my rear delts, I just did a superset with calf raises. Like, you know, I just worked it in, even though I knew it was going to be a longer workout because I was working out abs too. So that's how I switched it up in the middle. It's pretty cool. How was your mind-muscle connection on lateral raises or presses? Mind-muscle connection on dumbbell lateral raises is very important. It's just like working out your back, you know. If you don't have that mind-muscle connection, then it's hard to tell how hard you're actually hitting your side delts. So just taking it slow and really feeling your side delts at the top of the rep, man, there's really not a better feeling. It feels pretty awesome. What was your core engagement like during ab movements? So I like to do something called cross crunches, where you throw your leg up, elevate it, you pull your knee forward, and you take the opposite elbow with your hand behind your head, and you just tap it. And that'll give you a deep burn in your core. It really will. And if you haven't tried that one, I highly recommend that one. So it's definitely a keeper. I had planned on doing 5 sets, but after 3 sets, I was starting to cramp up a little bit, so I had to mix that up. So yeah. Did you superset shoulders with abs or keep them separate? I kept them separate, but I did superset rear delts with calf raises just because I hadn't been training my calves and I just wanted to work it in. I mean, I have supersetted abs with shoulders before. It's probably one of the few muscle groups I've superset together. No real reason. It's just how I like to do it sometimes. Maybe it's because it's a longer session sometimes. Were there any distractions or mental hurdles during the workout? No, it was just me and one other person in there. It makes it a lot easier for me to do some recording when there's not a whole lot of people in there. I don't have that. Always say it's because I'm trying to respect other people, but really it's because I can't get past that mental block of people judging you for recording yourself in the gym. So if I don't do that, I can't bring you guys content. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your focus today? I'd say about a 9. A 10 focus is pretty rare when you're really, really locked in. That's like when you're doing heavy squats and you have to be locked in if you're really trying to push it. So I don't really think I can get a 10 focus doing lateral raises. So what's one small technical thing you improved in your form today? I think when I was doing shoulder presses, I haven't done them in so long that I think a mistake I made is going too deep when it wasn't feeling right. So I did try to keep the range of motion, like I dropped the seat all the way down so that the range of motion would be more parallel, like not going below parallel and just keeping my shoulders right here. I do that because I honestly don't want to get injured again, so I'm being really careful with that one. Did you try any new ab exercises or variations? No, I just did cross crunches and cable crunches. My two go-to. Don't really hit obliques a whole lot. How's your shoulder pump feeling right now? Well, I did do 30 minutes of cardio afterwards, and we've been talking for about 7 minutes. So I've been in the car for about 12, 15 minutes. So it's starting to fade, but I still feel it a little bit. So that's pretty cool. So I know I hit them pretty good. Any signs of fatigue or overuse in your delts or traps? No, I had a little bit of fatigue going in, so that's just residual from chest day, I think. So, there's definitely some fatigue because I hit my shoulders pretty hard, but I'm not really too worried about that. What song or playlist carried you through today's session? There's a couple Shinedown songs that popped up that really made me feel pretty good mid-set. How does your pre-workout meal or supplement timing feel? Felt good. I know sometimes when I take my pre-workout, my 200 milligrams of caffeine, that sometimes I feel just a little bit off. But today it felt fine. And, I can't really, maybe I can contribute that to the amount of food I had the day before. I'm not really sure because I did overeat just a little bit yesterday. Let's see. What's one tweak you'd consider for your next shoulders and abs day? One tweak? Maybe warming up my shoulders just a little bit longer. Like I feel like it's pretty robust with the rotator cuff warm up and a couple sets of cable lateral raises, but maybe I can do a little more because it did feel better after a couple sets. So maybe I'll look into changing up my warm up a little bit. Nothing drastic, but just making it just a little bit longer. Did today's workout shift your mood or mindset in any way? It always does. So if you don't go to the gym regularly, and when you do go, when you leave the gym and you have a good workout, it's hard to explain the feeling unless you've experienced it. It just makes you feel like you can, I wouldn't say you can do anything. That sounds a little crazy. It does. It motivates you pretty hard. Like go in there and go hard and to leave satisfied, which is 99% of the time I do. I think the only time I don't leave satisfied is when I go in there when I'm working out sick, but it's not too often, knock on wood. But yeah, I feel great. I'm excited for the rest of the day. I still got a long way to go. It's still early, 7:30. But I think it's time to go to the store, get some food, go home, cook, eat, chill out till work, and tomorrow will be arm day. So we'll see if we switch that up at all. The guy that was in there he was doing a tricep movement with the Smith's machine that I'd consider trying it. So we'll see. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But as always, don't let that dreamer die. Keep the grind alive and never, ever give up on yourself. I'll see you guys next time.